This Good Morning Northwest Morning Sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right, 6:53 is your time. Let's get you ready for your Wednesday with everything you need to know here in the morning sprint.
Olivia Roberts has new developments in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and Destiny Richards is live with the Spokane Valley Fire Department.
But first to Mark Peterson with a chilly midweek forecast.
And we're starting off at 23 degrees in our first alert weather. It is chilly. Temperatures in the teens into Coeur d'Alene and then also into Deer Park. So out the door forecast going to be 22, 25 at 8 o'clock. By 9, we are at 28 degrees. We will ultimately see a high of 38 today with sunshine, and then clouds coming in later on today and into tonight with clouds tomorrow morning.
New this morning, the Justice Department is asking for the longest sentence yet for a defendant charged in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Today, the so-called QAnon shaman, Jacob Chansley, will learn his fate. Prosecutors want him to be sentenced to a prison term of more than 4 years, followed by 3 years of supervised release. They hope to use Chansley's sentence as an example to deter future attacks on the government. Chansley has agreed to pay $2,000 in restitution and is asking the court to sentence him to time served so he would be released from jail immediately.
An Arizona congressman is facing a historic censure vote today because of a cartoon he posted online depicting violence against Democrats. A week ago, Republican Congressman Paul Gosar's social media account circulated an animated video depicting Gosar killing Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and charging at President Biden with 2 swords. Gosar is also expected to be stripped of his committee assignments.
The battle over mask mandates and vaccine requirements are being debated inside Idaho's Capitol. Lawmakers brought more than 20 COVID-19 related bills to the floor, and many of those bills are already speeding through. Some of the bills address whether kids should have to mask up in school. Others go head to head with the federal vaccine requirement. One of the longest debates so far, mask mandate exemptions. To read more about these bills and other COVID-related legislation, go to KXLY.com.
Well, we are now just minutes away from day 2 of jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. The jury of 12 still doesn't have a verdict on whether Rittenhouse should be held responsible for killing 2 people during protests in Wisconsin last year. This morning, the jury will continue considering information from 8 days of testimony from about 30 witnesses and more than a dozen videos from the night of the shooting. Rittenhouse faces life in prison if he's convicted on the most serious charge of intentional homicide. As we wait for that verdict, we're seeing some tense moments unfold outside the courthouse. Clashes broke out between supporters of Rittenhouse and those who insist he's guilty. National Guard troops are on alert in case of violence after a verdict, but right now police say there's no need for any curfew or road closures.
This morning, we've been talking with the Spokane Valley Fire Department about fires that start from people who smoke and use in-home oxygen devices. So if you know someone who breathes on oxygen, anyone who uses those devices, this is what you need to know about. These fire break devices are going to be distributed by the fire department through medical calls and requests to stop those fires before they get to you. It's really going to save lives in our community.
Well, there is a push by Pfizer to make its COVID booster shot available to any adult who wants one. The FDA is considering the company's request to amend its emergency use authorization. A spokesperson for the CDC says we'll meet Friday to discuss expanding booster eligibility. If the FDA greenlights the change, the next step would require the CDC director to sign off on the plan.
It's only been 2 weeks since children between the ages of 5 and 11 were allowed to get vaccinated against COVID-19. And according to the Department of Health, as of November 13th, more than 44,000 kids have already received their first dose. In Washington, there are around 680,000 kids in that age range.
While doctors push to get children vaccinated against COVID, flu vaccination rates among kids have dropped significantly. The Washington Department of Health says compared to the last 2 flu seasons, flu vaccinations are down 25% during the last 2 months for kids 5 years old and younger. The DOH is encouraging families to get vaccinated. To find where you can get a flu vaccine near you, find this story on KXLY.com.
A Western Washington man has now been missing for 2 days, swept away in flooding in the border town of Sumas. Jose Garcia's son says his dad was driving to his job Monday morning when rising water swept his car out into a flooded field. Volunteers are carrying out a massive rescue effort for all people and animals trapped by floodwaters. First responders and volunteers use boats and tractors to carry people and pets out of floodwaters. Good Morning America continues our weather coverage with a live report from Burlington with the latest on rescue efforts. That's coming up. A quick break and Mark's weather.